Do you know what the biggest original sin for a young person in rural China is? It's not being incompetent, it's being unmarried. As long as you're unmarried, you're a failure in the villagers' eyes. Hi everyone, I'm Shyla. I'm 50 years old. I've lived in northern rural China my whole life. It's wheat harvest season in the countryside right now. I'm going to a relative's wedding today, and I need to harvest the wheat in the field behind my house before I go. My puppy Lucky is growing really fast and changes day by day. The temperature here has hit 38 degrees Celsius. Blazing sunshine makes farm work really sweltering. Wheat harvesting is far easier than it used to be. I'll take you to check it out. What's the temperature where you live? Is it this hot in your place? Now we rely on large combine harvesters for wheat harvest, which greatly improves working efficiency. It only takes dozens of minutes to finish harvesting 1 mu of wheat field. Every wheat harvest season, outside combine harvesters come to the fields, and farmers come to the field sides and wait on their own. There's no unified arrangement from the village. Villagers negotiate among themselves and line up voluntarily with great courtesy. When it's one family's turn, their wheat gets harvested and threshed. Then grains are poured directly onto tricycles. No need to dry the harvested wheat. We haul it straight to grain stations to sell and get cash right away. This half mu of wheat field behind my house is mine, and it's our turn to harvest very soon. I have a total of 8 mu of farmland scattered in several separate plots around the village instead of being connected together. We will wait for the harvester to reach each separate plot and harvest the rest of the fields on our turn. The harvesting fee is 60 RMB per mu of farmland. It costs 30 RMB to harvest my field. The tricycle delivery fee is 20 RMB, and the driver will ship my harvested wheat straight to the grain purchasing station. This batch of wheat totals 655 jin, and it has been delivered and unloaded at the grain purchasing station smoothly. This batch of wheat is 655 jin, and the grain depot buys wheat at 1.18 RMB per jin. Total revenue from selling wheat is 772.9 RMB. After deducting harvest and delivery fees, net profit is 722.9 RMB, about 99.05 USD. Lately, there's a viral line on Chinese short videos that leaves almost everyone who sees it lost in silence. 10,000 jin of wheat is worth one iPhone, and it can feed an adult for 10 years. One phone equals 10 years of food, fully showing the tough life of grain farmers. The wedding venue is not far from my home, only a 10-minute bike ride away. Looking at the red lanterns and lively wedding atmosphere, I'm truly happy for the newlyweds, but I also carry a quiet worry only rural parents understand. Many foreign friends cannot understand the marriage pressure in rural China. Today, at this village wedding, I'll share the real, honest truth. In big cities, it's completely normal for young people to stay single, date slowly, or marry later in life. People think focusing on career development is the top priority when young. No one judges others' love life casually, let alone mocks single youngsters. But in the countryside, people's attitudes toward marriage differ greatly from those in cities. Elderly villagers hold a stubborn old mindset. They firmly believe that anyone who refuses to marry at the proper age is incompetent and useless. Decades ago, almost all rural marriages were fully arranged by parents, and young people had no say in choosing their life partners. Elders from two families settled marriage terms and wedding dates on their own, and youngsters had to accept passively. Even if they were incompatible with no emotional bond, they could hardly back out. This long-standing tradition has shaped the current village vibe. Most local youths marry quite early, and it's common to get engaged and hold weddings right after turning 20. Most peers around them have long settled down, started their own families, and raised kids. Only those who stay single and delay marriage will easily stand out in the village. When walking around the village, chatting with neighbors, or attending wedding banquets, single young people often become topics of casual gossip, teasing, and even quiet mockery. This has been a lingering, heavy worry weighing on my heart these past few years. My son is 26 years old this year. He's steady, sensible, and hardworking, but he's still single with no steady romantic partner. I never want to force my son into a hasty, makeshift marriage. I always tell him repeatedly that marriage is a lifelong commitment, and he must never settle just to please others. I sincerely respect his thoughts and life pace. I understand young people face tremendous pressure nowadays, and many prefer to build a solid career first, before starting a family. I can understand my son, but the ingrained rural atmosphere and endless gossip from neighbors rarely accept young people's independent choices. Villages are tight-knit communities. Every family knows one another thoroughly, and everyone is well aware of every young person's age, relationship status, and marriage plans. Every time I go grocery shopping, take a walk, or visit neighbors, I'm almost always questioned about my son's marriage whenever I run into elder villagers. Many people will casually remark, "It will only get harder to find a suitable partner if you delay marriage for too long in the countryside." At first, I could brush off these questions with a smile, but years of constant prying, comparison, and public teasing leave me feeling wronged, inferior, and helpless as a mother. Even when my son comes back to the village for a short stay, villagers often stare at him when he goes out shopping, elders will lecture him about marriage, and peers will gather to gossip about him privately. Nowadays, more and more young villagers leave for cities to find jobs. Even if life in cities is not easy, most of them are unwilling to settle back in their rural hometowns for good. A big part of the reason is they can't bear the widespread marriage gossip in the village. They feel pressured, being urged to marry non-stop and judged casually about their love life every time they come back home. In cities, people live independent lives. No one meddles excessively in others' private business. They can fully decide for themselves whether to stay single or marry late. Rather than returning to the village to face constant stares and gossip from everyone around, they'd much rather stay and build their lives in freer, more relaxed cities. Today's wedding held by my relative fully lays bare the genuine attitudes toward marriage in rural villages. All relatives, elders, and young villagers gather together, and marriage is always the most popular topic of conversation at the banquet tables. Everyone sincerely praises and admires youngsters who get married and build their own families at a young age. But young people who stay unmarried will easily become targets of casual jokes and gossip among the guests. Many foreign viewers will inevitably feel confused and depressed by this social atmosphere. In your countries, whether to marry, the age of marriage, and choosing lifelong singlehood are entirely personal privacy and freedom. No one will pry into others' romantic lives, nor judge or mock someone just for staying single. This is a very obvious and genuine cultural gap between China and foreign countries. Overseas societies embrace diverse life choices. Early marriage, late marriage, and single living are all equally respected and accepted. But for the older generation in rural China, life follows a rigid, preset path. Grow up, work to earn money, marry, and have children at the right age. In their view, refusing to settle down at the proper age means falling behind in life, and it is something worthy of ridicule. I know clearly that most simple villagers hold no malicious intent to hurt or ostracize single youngsters on purpose. They have spent their whole lives rooted in rural communities and are used to judging young people's life choices by AHOLT standards passed down for generations. Elders' endless nagging and gossip stem from their deep fear of being helpless in old age. Yet this well-meaning concern turns into heavy pressure for young people nowadays. Even though I'm constantly anxious because of village gossip, I will always stand by and support my son. I've always believed it's far better to wait patiently for a compatible partner than to rush into an ill-suited marriage filled with conflicts and suffering later on. Yet living in this tightly connected rural community, it's impossible to completely shut out strange stares, trivial gossip, and unnecessary mockery from outsiders. This lively village wedding makes me deeply realize there are obvious gaps between urban and rural views on marriage, as well as lifestyle concepts at home and abroad. Now let's take a look at a countryside wedding in China.
张文远的妻子将和他一起面对未来漫长的人生之路。在未来，无论文远是获得人生的成功，还是遭遇到人生的坎坷，直到永远，你愿意吗？
我愿意。
掌声送给新娘。一句我愿意，也见证了两位新人恒久不变的爱情。2026年6月1日，张文远、林雨涵缘定今生，掌声祝福他们。
This temporary marquee set up at the bride and groom's home serves as the banquet venue for all wedding guests today. Drinks and fruits are already placed on the tables. Elders, young adults, and kids sit together, creating a warm, festive wedding atmosphere. Each table of today's countryside wedding banquet costs around 300 CNY, about 41.1 US dollars. There are 12 dishes in total per table, including 4 different soups with hearty portions. Crispy fried chicken drumsticks are a classic signature dish for rural wedding banquets. The golden crispy crust is seasoned well, with tender and tasty meat inside. These marinated quail eggs are a classic cold appetizer at rural wedding banquets. This two-colored crispy fried milk is a signature dessert for rural wedding banquets. It comes in original golden and purple sweet potato variants, fully coated with breadcrumbs. This is braised, shredded pork, a must-have dish for our wedding feast. Wrap the pork, cucumber, and onion shreds with thin flatbread before eating. This layered, marinated tofu roll is a cold dish for wedding feast. It is pressed with multiple layers of tofu skin and seasoning. This is braised pork hock. The meat is tender and easy to tear apart. Rich spiced flavor makes it juicy and not greasy. This leftover pork hock bone is perfect to take home for Lucky the dog. It makes a nice snack for the little pet. This is 8 treasure rice pudding. Glutinous rice is steamed with brown sugar, topped with jujubes and candied fruits. Eating fish in Chinese feasts symbolizes surplus wealth year after year. People usually pack leftover food after the wedding feast. It's not about being stingy. We truly value every grain of food from the bottom of our hearts. Our elders lived through the Great Henan famine in 1942, and they were truly terrified of hunger. So even now, no matter how well we live, we can't bear to waste any food. Even when we meet neighbors on the street, the first thing we say is always, "Have you eaten?" Back then, having enough to eat was the greatest happiness, and this care hasn't changed even now. In your hometowns, do single young people get teased and mocked by those around them? Feel free to leave your opinions in the comments, and let's talk about marriage views across different regions.